I am Benita Turner. I grew up in Detroit, Michigan, west side of Detroit, back in the 60s. Telling my age. Let's see. When I was young. Normal, I guess, kids born in the 60s. I was there through the riots. I was there when they brought the tanks down Woodward to go to Belle Isle when Martin Luther King died. My dad worked for Ford. High school was St. Andrews. It was Catholic. We had the nuns, tradition. It was like, if you ever saw the movie Grease or The Teachers, it was the same. We had nuns. We did the Pledge of Allegiance. Mercy College. Well, it was called Mercy College. Now it's called University of Michigan, University of Detroit Mercy. They combined, but they wasn't combined when I went. I just started off with prereqs. I just wanted to do the associates. And then I thought about going into nursing. Well, I didn't really think about it. My dad thought about it for me, about nursing. I was gonna go into computer programmer. Back then we were doing bios and I's and O's. It wasn't Windows and all of that, but he wanted me to go into the medical field, so that's what I did. Ever since I was little, like I used to take a telephone apart. Back then we had home telephones. I used to take them apart and put them back together.
Looking for a powerful home computer? This is the one. Texas Instruments home computer. With 16K memory, it can take you a long way. Want a computer with a lot of software? Oh, yeah, this is the one. The TI home computer gives you more of these software cartridges than any computer in the world. The whole world. So, with all the power you have here to run all the power here, this is the one. The home computer from Texas Instruments. This is the one.
I wanted to be a computer analyst. I liked taking stuff apart. I wanted to build computers and take stuff apart and do things. And it would entail, I had a 4-year degree scholarship to go to California to pursue that. But my mom had bone cancer, and they didn't want me to leave. So I stayed here, which turned out to be a good idea because when I turned 21, she had passed. I was taught that honor your father and mother, for your days will be longer on earth, or so whatever they say, I did. No, nursing was not my first choice. It was an alternative to what my family wanted, my parents wanted me to do. Back then, they wasn't into computers like they are now, so in his mindset, he didn't see the long term of me having a career. Boy, if he'd known now, if I would have did it, I could have been right there with Bill Gates and them, but he didn't know it. Always liked the kids. I liked working with children, so I wanted to go, if I was going to do nursing, I wanted to gear to where I worked with children. I felt like I had been doing nursing all my life because my mom got sick with cancer when I was 10, so I had been taking care of her till I was 21. And for some reason I just didn't want elderly, so I wanted to work at Children's Hospital. That was my goal, and work with the kids. So that's why I moved my goal to, if I'm gonna be a nurse, I'm gonna be a pediatric nurse and work with children. I loved it. I mean, I floated on all the different floors. I worked the burn unit, I've worked surgery, I've worked emergency, med surge. I learned a lot about children, and a lot of people ask, how can you work with kids? But what I learned with kids, they just want you to be honest with you. They just want you to tell them the truth. Don't say, no, it's not gonna hurt. No, just be honest with you, and they were fine. And it didn't bother me. And I think that's probably because maybe I didn't have kids yet, but a lot of it gave me understanding because I could not understand when I worked on the burn units how kids would cry for the people that burned them. It was rough. So many times I wanted to, I would just look at the parents and be like, oh, if I could just jump on them, but it was just hard for me because I would bandage them up and they'd be crying and their mom or their dad would come in and their face would just light up to like, my Savior's here, they're here, and I just didn't, it was hard for me to really understand that depth, but as I got older and in nursing and I wind up having kids, I learned that if that's all you know, that's all you know. That's love to them. No, I've never wanted to be a doctor, only because I would miss that connection with the kids. Doctors come in and they look at them and then they pass on to the nurses what they want us to do or how to do the treatments, and I liked it dealing with one-on-ones with the kids. Most of the kids at the hospital are sick, and they just don't. A lot of them cry for their parents because their parents are not there, and then a lot of them just doesn't want to be, when they're sick, they just don't want to be bothered. And I wanted 6, I wanted a big house because I'm the only child, and I don't have any cousins or relatives, so I wanted a big house. I wanted a house full of kids. Yes, I waited till I was 31 to have my first. But my mom had always taught me, because I was raised by older parents, to enjoy your life first. Do what you want to do, because once you have children, your life switches for their behalf. So things switch. So that's why I waited till I was 31 to have my first. So he was my buddy. It was just me and him for 6 years. And then I met my ex-husband now, but my husband at the time, and had 2 more. High school, and started doing activities, I went back to home care because you can make your schedule around home care, so I could be there for the baseball games and the basketball games and the cheerleading and stuff. So I kind of told them, wherever I went, wherever I worked, they kind of knew my family was number one, so I was blessed that I was able to work my schedule around them. So in a way, I have my 6 children. 3 of mine that I gave birth to, and 3 of my grandchildren. So I do have 6. Wesley's my son that's doing the interview.